Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next, we'll take up the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All items on the consent agenda are commission action items unless otherwise noted. Is there anything?
President, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, nay. Motion passes. All right, we have nothing on the regular agenda, so our next item is public communications, and we have one person who has signed up. If you'd like to come up and state your name and address for the record, please. Welcome.
Hi, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to hear from me. My name is Nick Kofod, and I'm here on behalf of Foothills School of Arts and Sciences at 601 South 9th Street. This is a new location for us, and we have a few requests before staff, and I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself and the school, a few of the issues that we're seeing in the event that any of the things that are proposed by staff might come before the commission. Likewise, I also want to acknowledge a number of staff members who've been helpful on a few occasions over the past few years. So first, just a little bit about Foothills. Again, we're at 601 South 9th Street at Miller. We are a pre-kindergarten through 9th grade school. We enroll 173 students. We fall under the category of a progressive school. It's not a political term. What we mean by that is, in addition to academic learning, we also focus on students' social emotional development, likewise community, along with academics. Part of our curriculum is taught through arts integrated and community connected project-based learning. So students will take some academic learning, combine it with visual or performing arts, and often there's some sort of community connection to those projects as well. On a daily basis, we use Jump and public parks, primarily now Jump in our location for play space on a daily basis throughout our grades. And then there are regular walking field trips to downtown, Boise Art Museum, the Boise Public Library. So our students are out and about outside the school building on a daily basis. We use this drop-off in 15. So this was middle school and high school, and it's the same location. Our families would come up 10th Street, make a right on Miller. Seems like it's been working out pretty well, and it confines, on the rare occasions when we have backups, maybe once or twice a week, those are out on Miller Street rather than sticking out onto 9th Street, so preserves 9th Street. Now in our new location, our primary pedestrian school goes west on, and we have classes from through our junior high, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders generally using that same pedestrian route. We had a couple of incidents. A car turning right, going west on Miller, right, and turned very, I think he was keeping an eye on somebody who was coming from the south, turned very wide, and actually knocked a student off his bike onto the ground. Fortunately, he was okay, but he was pretty shaken and hasn't really been willing to get back onto his bicycle to commute to school the way that he had been. On another occasion, we had a group of 3rd and 4th grade students. The south side of, they were crossing Miller at 11, and a cyclist, I don't actually recall, tried to shoot a gap in the line between students and actually knocked a student down, chipped his tooth, scraped up his arms and his knees as well. And it just led us to take a look at the intersections and reach out to ACHD staff who've been very responsive to us. Just taking a look at some of the intersections. This is 10th. This is 10th and sort of over in This is regularly used pickup when families park either up Miller Street daily for recess, and the issues that we see here. There's also not a mark. Car is supposed to stop at the stop signs traveling north or south. And likewise, this turn, cars coming up 10th Street here. Cars coming down here. Cars coming, making a left on. They have to stop relatively far back where the sign is, but a building picture on the left prevents the left. So it's cars have to pull almost to where the cross be able to see traffic coming from that left. Some of the things that we've suggested to staff, and again, when we have these accidents, these issues, we reached out and were asked by staff to let staff know what was going on, what our issues that we're seeing, as well as some solutions that we might like to see. We're not traffic engineers, so we get that, you all come up with something probably better than what we're suggesting here. But some of the things that we might, crosswalks, speed bumps to slow, maybe an improvement on the spot, if not a crosswalk, at least a spot where cars are supposed to stop at the stop sign that's just out of the shot on the right, so that it helps with that. Maybe a school zone sign, and for our cyclist traffic, maybe some sharrows. Again, we leave it to you all to figure out what's best based on the issues that we're seeing, but some of the things that were suggested by our school staff. This is 11th and Miller crossing. This was the site bicyclist who knocked over one of our students across the street. Again, similar solutions we like to see here: crosswalks, speed bumps, maybe some of the crossing lights if those were appropriate, and ideally we'd like to see an extension of the 11th Street bikeway. We know that that's under consideration next week through the north side of downtown. We'd like to see that continue all the way down to River Street from Myrtle when the time is right. Crossing Myrtle Highway. Our main issue there, crossing time is not sufficient for young children. When we reached out to staff, they did increase the crossing time by 3 seconds, but we were, which was help, and we're very appreciative of that. We understand that because of the traffic timing, that it's difficult to time the light beyond that. One thing I'll point out about this for yesterday, and you can see that this light is already green from the way that the crossing signal is already. There were probably only about 3 or 4 seconds left on that green light traffic that's supposed to become. It's got all the way across. So we understand that it was increased by 3 seconds. To actually get a class of preschoolers across that intersection, it probably requires another 10 to 15 seconds. Again, that may or may not be realistic, but that's the reality. We have had great experience or great response from cars. We use our own stop signs there in the intersection. All those cars are facing a green light, but you can see none of them are inching forward. So we do appreciate the support that we get from the community on that. And then just finally, thanks staff. When we had a 25th year celebration for the school a couple of years ago, we asked for a closure on 8th Street, and staff were very accommodating and helpful with that. When a couple of years ago, I think some point last year, when River Street was being repaved near 8th Street, Chelsea Holt was super helpful to us, helping our traffic circulate, stopping construction during during our drop-off and pickup time, so that we were able to do what we need to do while allowing that project to get done. And then likewise, I want to thank staff and Tim Kearns in particular for being really responsive when we had these recent incidents and reached out to see if there was anything that could be done in the neighborhood. So with that, thank you very much for listening to me today. If you have any questions, I'm happy to field those. Otherwise, we look forward to hearing from you.
Anyone have questions?
No, I thank you very much. We did discuss this in a work session last week, and strong support from the commission to move forward with whatever we could now, particularly if it involved painting crosswalks and lanes. So I think you'll see some actions pretty soon. That the commission was unanimous in supporting improved safety measures.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank you for coming in as well, and I'm looking forward to a meeting where we're going to be having a meeting here coming up and discussing. But thank you very much for taking time to thank our staff. They really put a lot of effort and are very dedicated to what they do. So we appreciate that feedback too. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for listening.
All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the commission today? Seeing no volunteers, meeting adjourned.